Hello again and welcome to our February 2023 edition of Quick Kit. It's been a very busy month, especially with BSC, which was a pretty amazing show. Anyway, links to everything we mentioned will be down in the description below, so let's get into it. Aputure and Tamron have released a decent amount of new lighting kit this month, but let's start with the new S series of fixtures. This new series from Tamron refreshes a bunch of existing fixtures with a new dual blue LED chipset design. This essentially results in improved light quality over the original set of fixtures, which is great to see from such an affordable set of lights. If you've been thinking of grabbing any of the fixtures that have been refreshed here, the photometrics Aputure have shared definitely look like they are worth grabbing the new series over the original ones for. Tamron also released their new series of LED pixel tubes in 1 foot, 2 foot and 4 foot variants. These new fixtures are aimed at being on the more affordable end that look very well spec'd for their price. They feature a removable internal battery that can be charged via USB-C, can be controlled via DMX or wirelessly using the Sidus Link app, and they also look like they have a really easy to use mounting solution, which is a really key thing to consider when grabbing a set of tube fixtures. They also look really well priced. As well as these Tamron tubes, Aputure also announced their new InfiniBar tube lights. These will be available in 1, 2 and 4 foot variants as well, but they look like they are definitely more targeted towards a slightly higher end of the lighting market. Their most unique feature is their ability to be mounted together into different shapes using the 10 different shaped connectors they're releasing with them. This will allow you to create some really interesting fixtures for both practical use as well as lighting a subject. Everything Everywhere All at Once used tube fixtures to create a triangle source in a similar way for certain shots, and I'm sure this is going to allow people to experiment even more just like this. When you chain the lights together, you can actually use a single power supply or use their internal batteries. Battery life looks pretty standard for tube lights, and photometrics also look very good. The mounting and accessory system looks a bit more robust than the Tamron tubes we've just mentioned, but that's not surprising given their difference in price. I can't wait to get my hands on these and the Tamron tubes to test, so let us know in the comments if you want to see a video on them and what we should film with them. Blackmagic announced a range of new products squarely aimed at their more broadcast and studio oriented customers. This consisted of 2 new studio cameras, the 6K Pro and 4K Pro G2, as well as the ATEM Television Studio HD8, HD8 ISO, and the ATEM microphone converter box. The 6K Pro is probably the most exciting out of the 2 cameras. It essentially adds the Super 35 6K sensor, the built-in ND filters and EF mount from the Pocket 6K Pro, and puts them into the studio form factor. It is a bit bigger than the 4K variant, but that's not surprising given the larger sensor and EF mount. All of these improvements paired with the existing feature set of the studio cameras will make this a very attractive option for many studios using existing Blackmagic Studio cameras. The EF mount is a massive addition as it means you can use all of the EF lenses that are available on the market, which really is quite cool. Alongside the 6K Pro, they also refreshed the Studio 4K Pro with the new G2 model. This adds the new internal live streaming function that the 6K Pro also features. This allows you to generate a H.264 HD stream that is sent via a smartphone connected via USB-C or via the 10GB Ethernet port. This is an awesome addition to both cameras. The HD8 switchers are an update to their popular ATEM Television Studio switcher. It's clearly been based on the existing ATEM SDI Extreme ISO, but with a range of improvements. Of course, the most obvious being the much larger panel design and range of controls. It also has a massive amount of inputs and outputs, such as MADI in and out, 32 audio channels, 2 USB-C ports, 8 3G SDI inputs and 3G program outputs, as well as a range of others you would expect to see on this kind of unit. There are a few differences between the regular ATEM HD8 and the ISO version. First off is that the ISO can record the 8 feeds going into the switcher and one of the program outputs. It can also connect to a wirelessly connected remote camera, which the 2 new studio cameras that we mentioned earlier can do, and it can actually connect to 8 of these cameras connected via this method. They also announced the ATEM microphone converter, which allows the input of 4 XLRs and outputs and MADI output, which will pair up nicely with the new television studio units as they support it. Lastly, Blackmagic announced price drops on the Cloud Store 80TB, 20TB and Cloud Store Mini 8TB. Red have released both a monochrome KOMODO and a set of new RF to PL adapters. Red offering monochrome versions of their camera isn't anything new, and it's great to see the KOMODO being offered with one now too. This removal of the colour filter array results in the base sensitivity moving from 800 to 2000 ISO, and should improve dynamic range as well. Red will also be offering a full spectrum option as well, which is awesome. They're going to be a bit more expensive than the regular KOMODOs, and are going to be made to order, so if you do want one, you can reach out to us or Red directly. Red also released 2 new RF to PL adapters, one for the KOMODO and one for the V Raptor. There are some different rigging and brackets for each camera that allows you to securely mount the adapter to each system. This will reduce play in the mount, which is a must as the RF mounts on these cameras are very prone to movement. However, probably the biggest addition to these mounts is the Cooke eye data pins, which allow for lens data to be fed to the camera. Something that we've been waiting for a while. They are definitely pricey, but they should hopefully perform very well and be worth the price. With these new adapters, they also announced they'll be producing one of these RF to PL adapters with an ND system built in, which I can't wait to see. Arri have announced their new series of filters for their signature primes and zooms, the Impression series. The signature lenses have a magnetic system at the back, which was originally designed for adding net, and this new series from Arri also uses this magnetic mounting system. These new filters are essentially a very clever set of negative and positive diopters that allow you to manipulate and tune the look the signature primes give you. There will be 4 positive and 4 negative filters of varying strengths which are denoted in their names. These filters manipulate how the bokeh in your image is rendered, with the positive filters giving the image a more swirly, painterly look, whereas the negative filters give the bokeh a more hard, defined look. Creatively, this means you can take the very neutral, smooth, and well-corrected bokeh of the regular signature primes and then use these to tweak the image to the exact look you want. Arri have designed these in a way that you keep your focus rotation amount and all your marks will remain accurate, though you will have to reshim your lenses in some instances. There will be a subtle change to the field of view as they are adapters after all, and they will work with both Arri Super 35 and large format cameras. Arri have created an awesome video showing the different adapters and the effects you can get from them, and it also explains how you may want to use them. We've put a link to it in the description. These look really interesting and I'm excited to get some in to check out. Arri have released SUP 7.2 for the Alexa Mini LF, which introduces the reveal colour science and a few other features. This is a big update because it means you can use an Alexa 35 and a Mini LF or LF on the same production and use the same new updated colour science. Leica have released a new range of drop-in filters for their very affordable lens mount adapters. This consists of a white, blue, gold and rainbow streak, rainbow star and 4, 6 and 8 point star filters. So these are more effects driven filters than their previous ones that they've released. And I think that's a smart move as more and more filmmakers are wanting to get into the world of effects filters, and these are a super affordable way of experimenting with them. You can rotate the filters to change their position to your liking, but I do wonder how hard it's going to be to orientate the streak filters correctly. These will work with all the Leica existing drop-in filter adapters, as well as the Canon one. I'm really hoping to see some more diffusion filter types added to this line, and an L to EF version, which I think would pair fantastically with Panasonic's new S5 II. Canon have released 2 new RF mount mirrorless cameras, the R50 and the R8, and 2 new lenses. The R50 is their new entry-level model for Canon's line of RF mount mirrorless cameras. This new camera features a 24.2 megapixel APS-C sensor, Canon's most up-to-date dual pixel 2 autofocus system, and can shoot 4K up to 30p with the option for 10-bit. This camera has clearly been aimed at people wanting to get into creating content, as it has a pretty good set of photo and video capabilities, and it's very affordable. The R8 is Canon's new entry into their full-frame RF mount mirror series. It has a full-frame 24.2 megapixel sensor, capable of capturing oversampled 4K 42 10-bit up to 60p. It also features dual pixel AF2, can capture C-Log3, and has some decent photography specs. It's essentially an R6 Mark II with a few corners cut to save on the price and form factor of it, such as the second card slot moving, a smaller battery, no mechanical shutter, slower drive speeds for photos, and no in-body image stabilization. It looks like it could be a really great option for people who are looking at hybrid cameras at its price point. With these 2 cameras, Canon also released an RF 55-210mm for APS-C and a full-frame 24-50mm f4.5-6.3 IS-STM. Both of these cameras have their place, and it's good that Canon are fleshing out the more affordable end of their lineup. All we need now is third-party lens options for RF. Both Sony and Sigma announced 50mm f1.4 full-frame E-mount prime lenses this month. Starting with the Sony, if we compare it to the 50mm 1.2, it's lighter, smaller and more affordable. We managed to actually use it with the FX6 to film a recent apprenticeship video, and it handled and performed exactly as well as you'd expect. The image it can produce looks really nice, bokeh is smooth, and even wide open, it's very sharp. It does perform very well considering its price, size and weight. The new Sigma features a new lens design that has been optimised for mirrorless cameras. They've managed to shave off a good amount of weight off of the original EF mount 50mm 1.4R, and have updated it in a few other ways as well. I'm really intrigued to see how these 2 lenses perform against each other, as the Sigma is a good amount more affordable than the Sony. The Sigma is also available in L mount, by the way. Let us know if you want to see a comparison in the comments below. Right, let's get into our quickfire honourable mentions. Links to details about these are in the description below. Accsoon released their new cage for the Fujifilm X-H2 and X-H2S. Accsoon have updated firmware for both the CineView and the CMOO devices. Adobe have updated both Premiere Pro and After Effects, as well as introduced a new feature to Premiere's beta, the ability to edit an interview or piece the camera using text similar to something like Descript, which I can't wait to try out myself. Angelbird have released a new range of MicroSDXC cards. BRAW Toolbox has been announced, which allows for BRAW to be edited natively in Final Cut Pro X. Blackmagic have released Resolve version 18.1.3. Deity has announced the SPD-1, a new power distribution box with sound recording devices in mind. DJI announced the Mini 2 SE, new firmware for the Action 2, and an L mount for the Ronin 4D. DZO announced their fourth lens to the Pictor line of cine lenses, the 12-25mm T2.8. The Fujifilm X-H2 has been added to Frame.io's camera to cloud network universe. GDU and Mutiny have created a range of body caps that can have Apple AirTags installed into them. Leica released two new lenses, the Summicron SL35 and 50mm f2. Moment released the new 1.55x anamorphic lens for smartphones. Mutiny have released a few new accessories for the Red KOMODO. BRAW released their 5th generation of their popular NT1 cardioid condenser microphone. Samyang released the 75mm f1.8 for Fuji X mount cameras. Sigma have announced the development of a range of APS-C lenses for Nikon Z mount cameras, and released a few firmware updates for the FPL and FP. Sirui released a new inflatable bicolor light, the A100B. Sirui also announced two new full-frame 1.6x anamorphics, one in X and one in L mount. Smallrig released their new AirTag accessory for their cages, and a new compact V Mount battery system for lightweight rigs. Swit announced the Wave 500, a dual-channel wireless microphone system. Tilta released their new left-side USB-C PD handle. Tamron announced the 11-20mm f2.8 for Fuji X mount. Tiffen released their new range of black fog and night fog filters. Focus have released a new top plate for the Red V Raptor XL. Wise have announced some new CF Express Type B cards. Xeon announced their new compact LED lights. And lastly, Zolar announced their new Vega ATC 2x1 LED panel. If you enjoyed this, please make sure you hit the subscribe button ready for next month's quick kit. And let us know what your favourite bit of kit is to come out this month in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching.